gosh, guys! It's the Diamond Emerald Ender Dragon! Uh-oh. Is that Herobrine? Ah!
These are the funniest fake Minecraft speedruns of all time. This first speedrun begins, but take a very close look at the world generation. Before you generate a world in Minecraft, you're given a list of all of your previous generations on this menu. And in this player's case, we can clearly see his most recent speedrun occurred at 6:33 p.m., which means any of his next speedruns will occur after this time. So when the speedrunner finally spawns into his world, how is it possible that the time shows 3:07, which is nearly 3 hours before 6:33? Unless the speedrunner traveled back in time, this generation is completely fake. And the footage of him generating the world and spawning in are actually two different clips simply edited together. This will make sense soon. So the runner spawns in, and giving him the benefit of the doubt, things seem fairly normal. He mines some wood, crafts himself some tools, and finds a nearby village. But pause. This YouTube video posted by Dream over 3 years ago was his official world record speedrun. And if we play the footage, doesn't the world in Dream's speedrun look oddly familiar to the world in this speedrun? Look, here are both of their spawns, the exact same location. There's also this exact super tall cactus in the deserts. And there's also a pyramid in the same location in both speedruns. It's pretty obvious the speedrunner is using the same seed from Dream's world record speedrun to try to get an advantage. And now it makes sense as to why he faked the generation earlier. So he enters the village and begins to get hay and collect some beds. But when the speedrunner goes to kill the iron golem, notice how the iron golem isn't actually attacking him back. In a real Minecraft speedrun, the iron golem will always attack you after you hit it. But if you create one and spawn one in on your own, it won't fight back no matter how many times you hit it. Meaning, this player spawned in the iron golem himself off camera to make it easier to fight. So he collects the iron, mines some gravel, and begins to search for a lava pool, when the speedrunner decides to open Dream's video during his speedrun and starts copying his exact gameplay as he creates the nether portal. If you didn't think he was using Dream Seed earlier, this just confirms it. So the speedrunner enters the nether and goes in a very deliberate path to which he locates a nearby fortress. But how is it possible he located the fortress so quickly? Well, rewind the footage to just a few seconds earlier when the speedrunner added this random keyboard cam. And while it may appear innocent, he deliberately placed it in the bottom left corner of the screen, the exact same area where chat and commands are shown in Minecraft. And if we put his footage in an editing software and slow it down frame by frame, we can actually see the speedrunner use a /locate command and try to hide this command by adding in the keyboard cam, but did it just one frame late. So now it's obvious how he found the fortress so quickly. So the runner enters the fortress and begins to kill blazes and collect some rods. He then finds a group of nearby endermen and collects some pearls, but notice how he's only able to craft a total of 6 eyes of ender, even though the end portal requires you to have at least 12, meaning he won't be able to travel to the end. But this will make sense in a few seconds. So he makes his way back to the overworld and finds the stronghold. And when he enters the end portal room, what kind of cursed end portal is that? It's clearly different from what a real end portal looks like. And now it's obvious why the speedrunner only had to collect 6 eyes of ender. Now, I honestly don't even know if this is gonna work. Wait, how did that work? So the speedrunner enters the end, and for some reason, the ender dragon is somehow already dead. So I guess he just jumps in the portal and completes the run. This next speedrun begins with the runner spawning directly in front of a village. And while everything appears to be completely normal, take a closer look at the bottom left corner of his screen. There's a singular piece of pork on the ground, meaning the world had already been played on, and he forgot to pick up the item after killing a pig. But that isn't all that he did off camera, because take a closer look at the door of this village house. A normal village house contains 2 torches, one on each side of the door. However, this village house only contains one on the left, meaning the speedrunner broke one of them before recording. And this is likely to mark out this specific village house, because the chest contains bread, apples, a carrot sniper. Wait, what the heck? Remember this for later. The speedrunner continues the run by collecting some hay and killing the iron golem to get iron and craft a bucket, when he immediately goes to this very suspiciously placed dirt block and digs straight down, which just so happens to lead him to the lava pool. But how is it possible the speedrunner knew to dig down at this specific block? Well, the only way a grass block turns into a dirt block is if something is placed over it. And because we can clearly see the speedrunner never did this, the only explanation is that he placed the dirt block in creative mode to easily remember to dig down at this specific block and find the lava pool. So the run continues with the speedrunner creating a nether portal and entering the nether, where the speedrunner finds a nearby bastion. So, using his gold, he begins to trade with the piglins to try to get loot. It's important to note that every single time you throw a gold inglet, a piglin has a 2.18% chance of giving you 4 ender pearls. And because the speedrunner only has 3 gold, the absolute max amount of ender pearls he would be able to get is 12. However, when the speedrunner is done trading, he gets a total of 15 ender pearls. The only explanation is that the speedrunner changed the loot drop percentages of ender pearls from 4 pearls to 5 for a single trade. It can't get any more obvious. So he collects his pearls and makes his way to a nearby fortress. And is it just me, or are there far more blazes than what usually spawn? Well, if we pause the footage at this frame, we can see a blaze spawner egg hidden in his inventory that he forgot to get rid of, meaning the speedrunner simply used the egg to spawn in an insane amount of blazes. So he easily collects his rods and then finds an oddly suspicious wall that clearly resembles the shape of a nether portal. And of course, this position spawns the speedrunner directly into the end portal room. It's pretty obvious he marked out this specific spot as he knew it would lead him to the portal. So the speedrunner places the eyes and makes his way into the end. In a normal speedrun, the speedrunner would likely use beds to kill the ender dragon, but we can clearly see that the speedrunner doesn't have a single bed in his inventory. Well, do you remember when earlier in the run the speedrunner found a carrot launcher in this village chest? This is gonna be interesting. I guess the ender dragon couldn't handle a simple carrot launcher. This next run starts off fairly normally, with the runner mining some wood and crafting some tools. The only possible issue could be the fact that the speedrunner has the 4th slot selected instead of the 1st, but we'll let it slide. So the speedrunner goes to finish breaking this tree. Why is there a ladder there? Is that dream ore? I don't even know what I'm looking at, but I guess I missed the update when they added dream ore into Minecraft. Now there also happens to be a chest in this strange cave the speedrunner enters, and what do you know, there's a ton of overpowered items, including a block of dream, which apparently can be turned into ingots, and then a full set of armor. Since when did dream get all of this stuff in Minecraft? So, fully equipped with the dream armor, the speedrunner makes his way to the nether. But right off the bat, notice this strange block of TNT right as he spawns in, which is impossible, as the only place TNT can spawn naturally is under a desert temple, meaning the speedrunner planted this here in creative mode. And this makes sense, because after he lights off the TNT, a chest is revealed hidden in the ground, where the speedrunner gets an obnoxious amount of ender pearls from the chest. Now normally the runner would then make his way to a fortress to collect blaze rods so he can craft eyes of ender for the portal, but in this speedrun speedrun, the runner completely ignores going to a fortress, and this may make sense later. So the runner spawns back into the overworld and take a very close look at these grass blocks as soon as he spawns in. They actually appear to form what looks to be an arrow, pointing the speedrunner in a very specific direction. So the runner follows the direction of the arrow and hold on, wait, why exactly is he a grizzly bear? More importantly, how is he a grizzly bear? I'm just not gonna ask any more questions. So right here, the speedrunner makes a blatant cut in his recording, as we can clearly see he changed his game into survival, and after jumping in this random pool of lava, the speedrunner falls down a hole straight into, you guessed it, the end portal. And now it's pretty obvious as to why he set up an arrow, because it leads him straight to the location of the end portal. So the runner spawns into the end, and right away, why are there random dream NPCs in the end? Now he also finds what is a wish.com version of a wither in the end. This speedrun is so weird. So the runner then opens a chest with two different things. First, a rainbow scythe, which clearly is not a real weapon in Minecraft. And he also gets another wither head and finishes the wither. I don't think that's a normal wither. Why is it so scary? Luckily, using the rainbow scythe the speedrunner got from the chest, he somehow kills the ender dragon without getting demolished by this insane wither. Maybe because the speedrunner is somehow in creative mode. This next one begins and take a very close look at the world generation. In a real speedrun, the screen must show this box being completely filled in. But in this speedrun, you can see him cut the footage before the box is completely finished. So when he spawns directly in front of a village, we know the speedrunner is using a set seed and tried editing the world generation to make it seem real. But giving the speedrunner the benefit of the doubt, everything looks fairly legit during his spawn. He has 0 XP, he selected the first slot in his hotbar, and he doesn't have any items in his inventory. But take a close look at the loot in this village chest. There's iron, there's some apples, and a villager rocket. I'm pretty sure this isn't a real Minecraft item. So the run continues with the speedrunner making his way to a nearby ruins portal. But notice how he passed several rose bushes on the way, which is impossible, as rose bushes can't spawn in plain biomes, the biome that the speedrunner is in, meaning the speedrunner planted them off camera to lead him straight to the location of the ruins portal. So he opens the chest, where he finds some iron and obsidian, pretty normal loot. But he also finds a lever, which is impossible as levers can't spawn in village chests. Remember the lever for later. So the runner grabs the obsidian from the chest and completes the nether portal. Now, you probably didn't even notice it, but the speedrunner actually just cheated. Because look, just a few seconds ago when the speedrunner opened his inventory, we can clearly see there is not a single flint and steel anywhere in his items. But we can clearly see he used flint and steel to light the nether portal. So how did he get it? Well, if we slow down this part of the footage, we can notice a slight cut happen in the recording. Likely, the speedrunner then went off camera and got a flint and steel in creative mode. So he enters the nether, and the first thing you'll notice is that the lava is already flowing. Lava cannot start floating until someone spawns into the nether. And because the lava has already flowed all the way down, we know the speedrunner had already entered the nether off camera. And this is confirmed even further when the speedrunner doesn't get the achievement for entering into the fortress. The speedrunner then randomly gets a fire resistance effect, even though he never had one in his inventory. And this is likely to help him out with fighting blazes, where he gets a respectable amount of rods. Now, in a normal speedrun, runners would then travel to a bastion where they would trade with piglins to collect ender pearls. But I guess I may have missed an update because first off, I don't remember gold blocks spawning in a fortress. And secondly, I definitely don't remember there being a piglin spawner instead of a blaze spawner. This guy can't stop cheating. So he uses the gold he got from the fortress and trades with the piglins to get ender pearls, where he slowly makes his way back to the overworld. Now, this is where normal speedrunners would begin throwing their eyes of ender, hoping to locate the stronghold through a process known as triangulation. But this guy seems to have a different plan. Do you remember when the speedrunner got a lever from this village chest earlier in the run? Well, I guess this is the new method for getting to the stronghold. So he finishes the portal, but notice how the speedrunner doesn't spawn onto an obsidian platform like a real speedrun, but spawns directly onto the surface. And also notice how the ender dragon seems to have already lost some of his health before the speedrunner did any damage to it. Now, the only possible explanation for this is that the speedrunner has already been to the end and simply didn't include it in the recording. And he almost would have gotten away with this until you look very closely into the corner of a screen where a single ender pearl can be found on the ground, likely from the speedrunner killing an enderman off camera and forgetting to clean it up. Now, in a normal Minecraft speedrun, the runner would likely kill the dragon with beds, maybe even a bow, but I think it's clear this is anything but a normal speedrun. Do you remember earlier in the run when the speedrunner got the villager launcher? So he equips it and dies while killing the ender dragon. How can you be this bad while cheating? Subscribe for more fake Minecraft speedruns.